You count, okay?
Wait. No.
All right. When you play e4, the consequence of playing e4, the consequences of e4, though e4 is filled of lot of ideas and tactics, which is good for you. Unlike the London system, it's so technical, you don't know, you can't appreciate breakings as young as you are. That is the advantage of e4. The consequence of e4 too, on the other hand, is actually plenty of variations when you play pawn to e4. You will be dealing not only e5, but also e6, d6, c5, and even the Caro-Kann and even the Alekhine. But one by one, we are going to deal with them one by one. So, when we play e4, Scott, many of the kids in the United States are always rooting for the famous boom Sicilian defense. That is the Sicilian defense when white plays e4 and black plays c5. That is the Sicilian defense. Now, the normal way of dealing the Sicilian defense nowadays is to play knight to f3. Knight to f3. That is the normal ways of dealing the Sicilian. Knight f3, d6 or knight c6, for example, and d4. Pawn and pawn. But I have also in my mind how to deal with the Sicilian defense with e4 and c5. And I am proposing to you a very simple way of dealing the Sicilian, but it creates a tremendous attack on the center or on the king side, which is now I'm introducing you knight c3 on the second move after e4, c5. Then the second move is knight to c3, which is now leading to the closed Sicilian. Closed Sicilian. Okay? Closed Sicilian. Now, in the game of Spassky versus FM Gillier, a model game that we should follow in dealing the Sicilian defense with knight c3 on the second move. Whether black will play d6 or black will play knight c6 or g6 or e6, the next thing that we are on mind is to play pawn to g3. Why? Tito Kochi, I want to develop a bishop on c4. Don't worry. The light squared bishop being developed on bishop g2 has its meaning. Because number one, we want to put pieces on the king side and ones to castle because the bishop will be a good defender on the king side, and at the same time it could attack on here on this diagonal later on once it's being pushed. But the reason why we have to put a defender on g2 with a fianchetto is we are preparing for f4 g4. That is the main purpose of putting g3 and bishop g2, because we are going to launch a flank attack at the king side. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that is the reason why. So when white plays knight c6, bishop g2 on the fourth move, and now g6, he's following is whether g6 or black plays e6, if he doesn't fianchetto, it's still the same. We're going still a flank attack at the king side. The reason also is that we are going not allowing black to play d5. The reason why there's bishop g2 and knight c3, making it a closed center. That's why it's closed Sicilian. And what makes it closed? Because of the pawn on e4, knight on c3, and the bishop g2 exerting effort on controlling this, making the position close. No breaking for black. So, when black plays g6, he wants to fianchetto his bishop on g7. Whether e6 or bishop g6, it's still the same with a cute move, pawn to d3. With pawn to d3, black plays bishop g7, and now, boom! Your favorite subjects got attack, 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 going to the king's side. Not unlike the London system that you are going to wait and see, but here you want to be aggressive. Isn't it what you want, Scott? Yeah, that's what you want, right? You want to be aggressive. I want to be an attacking style. I want to be Michael Jackson. Hey, Michael Jackson. No, not Michael Jackson. Elvis Presley. You understand?
Yeah.
You want to be rock and roll. I'm done with A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You I want to sing like Elvis Presley. You want to be rock and roll. You get me?
Yeah.
You want to have an energy in your attacks. So, I'm giving you the close Sicilian. We call this Operation Elvis Presley. You get me? Have you seen Elvis Presley singing? Dancing? Dang, dang, tak, tak. Dang, dang. We want to put music around our play. We want to have energy in our music. So, with that, boom, f4. We are now declaring an attack on the king side. Knight f6, and look at the pawn structure of what? But the setback of this the one thing that you have to remember here is that always remember there's already holes on the king. That is the setback on this opening that you must be aware of. That's why you need prophylactic moves like h3, and then bishop e3, queen d2, something like that. So that in order that your flank attack will succeed, that there will be patches on those holes. Now, in the game of Spassky and Gillier, the game follows knight f3. Instead of knight g2, we go knight f3. When black castles, we also castles. Rook d8, because he's going to play b5, knight f6, knight g4, bishop g4. Those are some kind of attacks for black. And the only way to stop the king side attack or possible attack for black before we're going to play bishop e3 because there's knight g4, we're going to stop them all by simply min h3. It is a prophylactic move that prevents knight g4 and bishop g4. But at the same time, with this pawn to h3, it's also going to support g4 and attack the king. And now, the jailhouse rat. Dang, dang, pak, pak, bang, bang. And the beat is like that. You are starting to roll over, rock and roll on the king's side. Get me, Scott?
Yeah.
So we are tuning a rock and roll here, a slow rock and roll, but slowly going to break his king. So black plays b5 without any further ado. Should we be afraid with b5? No. No. We should not be afraid, but we should be not be overconfident with b5. We should also be cautious a bit, because he's trying to open at the queen side. Whether you like it or not, white has going to the king side, and black is going for the queen side. That is the rule here in the closed Sicilian. When someone's going to go flank attack at the king side, expect that he's going to go to the other side, Scott. You understand?
Yeah.
So, a3. Why a3? It is also possible not to play a3. Just leave it there. You continue with bishop e3 because there's no more knight g4 because of the prophylactic move h3, preventing the knight and the bishop. You can already play bishop e3. But Spassky had something in his mind. He wanted to play a3, not only to stop that. It's not going to stop b4 anyway. The purpose of a3, Scott, is to, after he will play a5 here, after capture, white wanted to have an open file on the A file. So that's why a3, a5, and now white continue with bishop e3, and after b4, a takes b4, a takes b4, and now bang bang, pak pak, dang dang, and now Operation Elvis is going knight e2. Where could that possibly be with knight e2, Scott? Where does it travel? Dang, dang, tak, tak. Dang, dang, tak, tak. Come on, Mr. Elvis.
I don't know.
It's going to travel like
Knight.
G4,
Knight.
F5, either knight G3 or knight F4. Does it look stronger?
Yeah.
Yes, it looks stronger. Knight E2, bishop B7, and now, dang, dang, wow, B3. Now, should you be afraid with knight takes pawn, pawn takes, and bishop takes? No, because that defender is strong. At the same time, two pieces for a rook. And at the same time, that dark squared bishop is a very strong bishop going.
And at
That
the
is a
same time, knight to h5.
yeah.
Or
If knight
knight to
h5,
h5.
knight
Okay,
h5,
never mind,
rook
never mind,
c1.
never mind, never mind, never mind.
So it's not going to be a worry for white, right?
Yeah, wait.
Yeah, because he's giving up his defender. So that's going to be a problem. So rook a8, and now instead of exchanging, he is now defending it with the rook on c1 to defend the c2 pawn. Now rook a2, trying to see if there's someone attacking another piece to attack. No, no more. So white now continues with g4. The one thing that you have to always remember, Scott, when you go for the close Sicilian, always remember that when you're going to push, no more breakings. There's no breakings. If he breaks like h5, that is a blunder because you're going to simply that becomes a weakness later on and opens up the king. And I don't think he's going to like it. So queen a8, you have to always think. You have to always use prophylactic before you attack. What's the threat? Oh, there's no threat. Is he going to play d5? There's e5, and it's going to be a problem for black. So there's nothing. What if the queen, can the queen help on attack on c2? Maybe, but it takes later on. It takes long. So, should we continue with the attack, Scott, since there's no serious threat?
Yeah.
Yes, queen to e1. The sole purpose with the queen on e1 is f5, queen h4, and bishop h6, followed by knight g5. Does it look like serious?
Yeah.
Let's put a smile on the face. Okay, queen a6, and now continue, Scott.
Queen f2.
Okay,
Oh, baby.
queen f2 was
F5,
slow.
F5.
Yes, f5 is much more stronger. So that queen h4, listen, look at the operation. F5 is much more stronger because it follows queen h4, bishop h6, and knight g5. That is the idea here. And followed by knight going to f4. Are there plenty available pieces now towards the king?
Yeah.
And not to mention, the rook is a very silent going there. It could eliminate a defender. Wow, slowly but surely. Now, queen f2 was being played, and Spassky realized that it's a slow move. So, another slow move by Efrem Gillier with knight h7 and knight a7. But now, white continues with pawn to f5, knight b5. Question, what's the threat? Oh, there's the threat here. That seems to be a problem. But yes, it may be a problem, but question, will you succeed in your attack even though black is getting on c2 with knight a6, just like what you've been practicing in the hanging pawns? What would be the reactions? What if I go to queen h4, or even knight g5, or attack on the king side? Will I be the first one to attack compared to him despite he's going for knight a3 to rook c2? Let us calculate. What if f takes g6, f takes g6, and there's no more h7? And Spassky said, oh, f takes g6 works. F takes g6. And now here comes knight g5. What's the purpose? What's the point with knight g5, Scott? is going to queen h4 and rook takes f6. Does it look deadly?
Yeah.
Does it look deadly, boy?
It looks deadly.
Yes. Knight a3, he's going for the pawn, but white said, okay, you can have the pawn. I will go for the rest of the moves. Queen h4, ideally rook takes f6 and a mate on h7. And after rook c8, and now for the finish cut. Rook takes f6, pawn takes f6, queen h7, and tactics continue. Boom! Knight takes f7, rook takes e2, and snubs all the way with bishop h6, capture, knight takes, and now check and g5. For the full sole purpose that the rook is inactive. Look at it. All of its pieces are not helping and disorganized. Check, check, and plenty of tempo, and nothing stands its way with the use of the two passed pawns around. And after here, he could already go queen takes b7, capture, and dang, dang, pack, pack, dang, dang, queen, queen. You understand, Scott?
Yeah.
And look the operation of the attack. After f4, it needs to play, after castle, it needs h3 to avoid everything. And after b5, just a3. You may or may not play a3 here, but Spassky's taste is a3. And after a5, bishop e3, like I said, you have to patch all the holes there with a lot of pieces so that be it will not be invaded and expose the king. So remember, pieces are strong defenders. And when b4, pawn takes pawn, and realizing that white's preparation with a3 gives life for the rook. And after knight e2 goes there, and after bishop b7, b3 to stop all counter plays by black. And white continues now. Rook c1 not exchanging anymore. And after here, and he comes now with g4. And after that, here comes Johnny. Here comes Queenie going for h4. And queen f2 was really, really slow. But again, always combine prophylaxis and attack. Prophylaxis first and then attack so that no one will stand you on your way when you are going to attack. And now, queen f2 was slow. Now, knight a7, sensing knight b5 and knight a3. But Spassky saw that he is the one faster here in the attack with f5, knight b5, and now here comes the right moment to capture with f takes g6, h takes g6, and now here comes knight g5. And making this rook a bit of zugzwang because the bit of zugzwang including the knight could not go elsewhere because of the knight takes f7 rule. So after knight a3, queen h4 for the finish, rook c8, and everything was well calculated by Spassky. Rook takes f6, pawn takes f6, queen h7 check, king h8, and knight takes f7, followed by bishop h6, and the rest is history. Dang, dang. That is what we call rock and roll in chess. You have to roll everything. As Optimus Prime says, Autobots, roll out. Was that the one he said all the time?
Huh?
Is that what Optimus always say to the Autobots? Was it?
Who?
Autobots, roll out. Oh, you didn't see Transformers?
The who?
Anyway, the who. All right, another one. E4, C5, here, bishop g2. Another variation here, Scott, when black plays knight f6 is knight g2. But I like the way in the game of Spassky versus Gillier that you're going to play knight f3. That you're going to play knight f3 instead of knight g2. Knight f3 is what I recommend here. So that here, pag b3, and now g4, and continuous bobbing on the king side. You understand?
Yeah.
Now, in Laos Sport Teach Cat, let us try to see that if you like knight g2, let us see. Okay, look at it. A very aggressive move by Lahus Portish. Knight g3, castle, and now bishop e3, queen d2. Look at it. Why knight ge2 has been played instead of knight f3? Portish tried to play knight g2, and now h3 without castling first. Look at it. No castling first. And rook b8, we're going to play g4. And the moment he plays knight d4, he did not accept the challenge, but instead going to knight g3, preparation for f5 and g5 so that the knight could not help on h5. And here comes bishop c6, castle, and after castle, we go now bishop e3, preparation, all of the pieces. Like I said, when you are going to have a pawn store, make sure there are pieces guarding all those holes, patching all those holes before you're going to roll the pawns. So after knight d7, and here comes queen d2, what's the idea? Instead of the idea of Spassky a while ago, but remember, Spassky's idea with queen e1 to queen h4 comes that the knights are here. So that after f5, the queen can go there and attack. But here, things are different because it's being blocked by the knight. That's why queen d2 was being summoned or called. And after e6, there is now knight d1. What's the idea? So that the knight could participate here. After g5, knight here, with the idea of playing c3 to block the bishop, and at the same time making the knight shoo away. So it was a very strong move. So after here, white plays c3, and now white plays a4, going after the knight, and now the knight is so awkwardly placed, and now, dang, dang, the role of the pawns in attacking. It's the power to break. Dang, dang, see? Look at the power of the pawns. And queen g2, like I said, you need plenty of defenders cut. When you are trying to play flank attack, you must, or pawn storm, you must have pieces behind the pawns. Look at it. Boom. And now knight e3, going for more pieces towards the king side. Bang, bang. Capture, capture with the queen. And here comes queen f3, making way for king h1, and then rook g1, aiming towards the king. See? See? And now wins for white. Rook takes, queen takes, and now here comes. But between the two, Scott, which is the one thing that you like? The game of Spassky with knight f3, knight with here, and here, knight e2, making his pieces go here, or in the game of Portish versus Barkza, which is which?
Spassky, I guess.
Yes, you go for the world champion. You go for the world champion, Scott. You go for the world champion with g4, knight f3, and in that kind of manner. Understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the things that you have to understand. You get me?
Yeah.
Okay. You like the opening against Sicilian?
Yeah.
All right.
And
Where can I send this?
John Triad.
Okay. Sending this to John Triad. So I want you to study the game of Spassky versus Gillier. You understand?
Uh-huh.
All right. I want you to study the game of Spassky versus Gillier, and then in the afternoon or morning here, we're going to play. You
Okay.
understand?
Yeah. Do you see arrow?
Yeah. Understand, Scott?
Okay.
All right. See you this afternoon, morning here. Okay. See you.